this one here.
What? Why do I have
I
that
have
picture?
I have a complaint. Hi
What?
guys.
Hi.
Okay, when I put up, it's Snapchat time. I don't expect people to just say, "Hey, it's so cute." I want you to put a Snapchat of your own underneath it so that I can look see that I'm not the only
Only
foolish
one
one.
being silly?
Yep,
But
exactly.
you're so good at being silly. So I don't understand that. So hello everybody. I am Gina B here with Mama D, and you are in the Fox Den. We have a very exciting show tonight. We have
Do.
Mike McAdams with us, and I am going to show the video, his bio video. He'll be with us as soon as it ends, and maybe Mama will get her silliness out by then.
No, ever,
Okay,
never.
never, never. All right,
Say
here's
hello,
the video.
sillies.
We will be we'll be right with you. Good evening. I am Gina B here with Mama D every Thursday evening from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here in the Fox Den. Tonight we have Michael McAdams. He is the author of An Angel Told Me So. Michael has always felt a sense of destiny and purpose, a lifelong sincere seeker of truth. Michael has endeavored to reach out with an open mind to all sources available. Brought up in a Pentecostal church, Michael's uncle was a fiery Pentecostal preacher by the name of John W. Sullivan. Although Michael has always felt more spiritual than religious, communication from the highest possible source has been his goal, as he enables his mind to receive information and direction that allows him to help the greatest number of people. With a strong foundation of faith, Michael explored many avenues of spiritual and psychic material. When the student is ready, a teacher will appear has always been very appropriate for Michael, as his path has consistently brought him together with individuals, books, and sources of learning that have allowed continued growth and spiritual enlightenment. One of Michael's preferred books, in addition to the Bible, is the Urantia book. We will learn about Michael's mother, Wilma Jean Jones, who was initially skeptical of psychics. Wilma trusted Michael's judgment and kept an open mind. Wilma attended the next gathering and soon realized her own abilities to tune into others and receive. Wilma Jean began to teach a series of classes for those interested in developing their own abilities. She spoke publicly to women's groups. She was written about in a number of newspaper articles and was interviewed on television in Cincinnati regarding her abilities in this work. Eventually, this led to Wilma Jean sitting down in dedicated sessions, receiving dictated messages and teachings from spirit teachers and angels that now compose 3 volumes of the book, An Angel Told Me So, of which Michael is in the process of publishing the 2nd and 3rd book in the series. And we welcome you to the Fox Den. And here he is. Welcome, Mike.
Well, hi, Gina. Hi, Mama. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing today?
Fine. Thank you for having me guest on your show. And I told Gina that is the most beautiful presentation that I've ever been introduced by.
Thank you
She's
so
good at what
much.
she does.
I work hard at it. Sharon is here. She says, hello, sillies. We were being a little silly at the
That's
beginning.
nice.
But, oh, I don't know what that was. But it's scary.
This is a silly one.
Yeah.
So we're not the only sillies in the house. Oops, that was mine. That's okay. I
All right,
dropped this.
are we getting messages from somewhere? But speaking of messages, all right, we are talking about this book, the book that's down there below Mama and next to Michael, and Angel Told Me So. Oh, what an inspiring book! What an inspiring book. Now, this initially is your taking her messages and putting them in here. So they're messages from spirit guides, angels, and whatnot, talking through your mother, who could see and envision the words and writing them down. Now, they're direct messages to her and to you. These messages are so powerful and so specific to you and your mom. Like, how did you take this when you first heard she was doing this?
Well, I actually didn't hear she was doing it, I was part of it. And I had gotten involved in spiritual and even psychic material and information before my mother did. I was brought up Pentecostal in the Pentecostal church. My uncle was a fiery Pentecostal preacher, and he had founded churches in Florida, Kentucky, and Ohio. My grandmother was called to the ministry when she was 30 years old and pastored a small Pentecostal church in Middletown, Ohio. My mother played piano for some of the church services for my uncle's services. So that was her background, and she was initially skeptical, like your introduction video said,
Mm-hmm.
and she wasn't really sure about some of the stuff that I was reading and that I was sharing with her.
Right.
But I asked her one day, I said, "Do you think you could have an open mind?" And she said, "Yeah." She said, "I can have an open mind." And she just became open and aware of all this going on. And like most all of us, Wilma Jean had been spoken to all of her life in thought. We're all spoken to in thought.
Right.
Guidance, direction, support, the parking spot angel. If you've seen the movie Michael with John Travolta, they talk about the
Oh,
parking spot angel.
right.
I tell people that I had driven to Florida. My dad had retired in Bradenton, and I would drive straight through 13 hours from Ohio to see him, stay down there. And, if you're told I'd slow down up ahead if I were you,
Yeah.
that helped me many times on this freeway when I had cruise set at 80 and the speed
Mm-hmm.
limit was 70. They'll normally give you 10. They may not give you 11. So we're
Mm-hmm.
all spoken to, but we have that pesky little thing called free will. And
Hmm.
we have the ability to accept or reject any of the advice, direction, or support that we're given.
Right.
So when Wilma, on the back cover of the book, I talked to you about the message
Right.
that she was given in thought, working around the kitchen one day. And these words started to come into her mind. And she felt that was incoming. She felt it was confirmation that she should put these messages and teachings in a book. So she had written that down in longhand. May I share that with your audience?
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll start with one here, and just so they can see and hear the depth and quality of how these spirit teachers speak. And this is what she received that she wrote down in longhand. Emptiness is part of fulfillment. Let your resources fill the void left so that distinction of your purpose can be found. Expression is always self-explanatory. Therefore, look inside and anchor all your beliefs beside those still waters that will take away your troubled view and renew your strength to recapture that which was lost, but is now found to be adequate to pursue the course set before you. And as you reconcile your being to represent those qualities that have been left intact, God will see to it that although circumstances have been trying, to say the least, your weariness will disappear as clouds once removed allow the sun to shine to dispel the gloom and darkness that has pervaded your countenance. And as once described before, a token of this presence will be deposited to your account and books recorded in his name.
Yeah. If you get a message like that, exactly you're
Yeah.
going to be writing. I mean, that's what I'm saying. The messages are so specific. And also, as she's progressing with her messages and she's asking to receive more, and they kind of shoot her down and say, in elegant words, but when you're ready, you will receive this. When you're ready, you will receive that. This is what you need to do right now, and this is what you need to do right now. And it's, oh my God, so inspiring. But when you do read it, it's like I've marked a few things, but they're personal things for me. But you will feel like these messages are really directly towards you. Whoever's reading it. I mean, it could be whatever part of whatever you're going through in life. I mean, it could be any of these messages, could be the one that will affect you in this way, like going, are they saying this to me? Did someone like change this? And this is supposed to be for me, because it really is. And I got inspired a few times that way in there. And then when we were talking previously, you said that other people had said that to you about the book too, saying that the messages they felt were for them. directly.
I have been told that many times by people who have read the book that said, well, this sounds like what I'm dealing with. This sounds like they're talking to me. And when you had said earlier that these messages and teachings, and they really should be called teaching messages.
Right.
They're not just messages. I mean, you could go into a church and do sermons from some of these messages, and they are, as you said before, that specific. And these spirit teachers, angels, just viewed from a different perspective, they say what they mean, and they mean what they say. And these messages and teachings are not open to interpretation. It's not like when you say you attend a church service and a pastor will pick a passage out of the Bible and read it and then spend 20 minutes explaining what he just read.
Right.
I got it the first time, explaining it, and that's part of his sermon. Another pastor in a different church might read the same passage and give a different interpretation.
Well,
These
that's the different religions, you know.
Well, it's just a perspective more than a different
Yeah.
religion, but these messages and teachings are so specific, so the depth and quality so deeply stated and so profound that as long as I've been involved in material like this, and I've been involved in material like this for 30 years, I have never, ever read anything with the depth and quality of these teachings. And
your mom was so sweet. What a sweetheart. I watched her interview that was on that Cincinnati broadcast. She just is so sweet. And I have to ask you, I'm going to show a picture, and I want to ask you what the crown is, the feather crown right here that she
on
found
the front cover of the book.
Yes, that she found in her pillow.
Wilma had been working in the kitchen one day, and she heard a voice. And it was the only time ever that she actually heard a voice. And it said, if you look in the pillow, you'll find a crown. And she looked around. There was no one there, but she knew exactly what they meant. When Wilma was really close to her mother, Mary Culbertson, who was a Pentecostal pastor when she was young, and when Wilma's mother passed away, she had kept her pillow and kept it. That's a picture of Wilma and her mother.
Right.
They were living in Dayton, Ohio at the time. Well, she had kept her pillow and kept it in a plastic bag. And on occasion, when she really missed her mother, she would go in and open the bag and smell the pillow, and it still smelled like her mother. It retained that smell. It was a feather pillow. Yep. So she knew what they meant. If you look in the pillow, you'll find a crown. She didn't hesitate. She went to her bedroom, pulled the pillow down out of the closet, took it out of the bag, and took a pair of scissors and cut the end of the pillow open. And she gently reached her hand in among the feathers, and she found that feather crown. It's about the size of a 50-cent piece, woven like a crop circle. No weight to it at all because it's all feathers. And you can do a little search. You can do a search on feather crowns. And it was kind of an old Kentucky wives' tale, Appalachia. People, it was a story where they said that children of God who had passed away, and everyone slept on feather pillows back then. You know, foam rubber pillows didn't really come into vogue until the mid to late 50s. And that when a child of God had passed away, that a feather crown would form in the pillow they had slept on. And they're more common than most people realize. People just don't.
I have very old feather pillows. I have one pillow I've been trying to replace forever, and I can't do it because they just don't make the feather pillows the way they used to.
You can have them restuffed with down.
Oh, it's not the same. It's like these feathers. It's this pillow. Right. You know, I need it. It's the only one I can sleep with.
So anytime Wilma Jean was given information like that, it was just reinforcement. It was just like, we're here. We know what you're going through. We'll give you this to enrich your environment and to make you feel like we really are a presence in your life. And they are a presence in everyone's life. If you have a church-based, Bible-based background, you know, we've all been taught about angels, archangels, guardian angels. People who are more spiritual in nature they read and learn about spirit guides, spirit teachers, master teachers.
Right.
They're the exact same thing as angels, just viewed from a different perspective. It's not New Age. It's
Nope.
not anything against Bible teachings. And it really does give you that sense of belonging. And we're all born with the innate ability to communicate with our spirit guides, spirit teachers.
Right. And
Very true.
they communicate with you in so many various ways too, because they can either smack you upside the head, or they can give you subtle messages. They can leave things around, or they can really, if you are bound and determined to go drive into that traffic, they'll hide your keys, so you can't find your keys to make you late. And then all of a sudden they're right back where they're supposed to be, and then you're out the door, and lo and behold, there's a 5-car accident down the street, that you avoided. Same thing just happened to me. I was supposed to go to West Virginia, and I really wasn't feeling well, but just something was hounding at me like I just shouldn't go right now. I really shouldn't go right now. So I told my daughter, I said, I can't go. Well, I was driving to actually a job interview. I was driving to a job interview. I left, and my boot on my car broke, and the tire went out sideways. And if that happened on my way to West Virginia, which it would have, because it was it was going to happen, I could have died. I mean, who knows? The car could have flipped. I could have been next to a truck on the highway, going 70 miles an hour on the highway, because it's a long trek, So you have to heed
Pay attention.
the messages that you get. Sharon says her dad watches over her. That's really nice. And that's really nice. Now, you were saying before, I know I'm jumping all over the place, and I apologize for that, but you were saying before that, you have this book out right now, and there are 2 more in the works that you were struggling to get published. I mean, not unlike a lot of other authors, have struggled finding the right publisher, and to go through the rigmarole that some of them, not so good publishers, put you poor people through. So the books aren't out there yet. But, Mama D and I were talking before you came on and saying, all things happen for a reason. I wonder if there's a reason why you had to wait to put this book out. Do you think that there's a reason?
Well, it wasn't really so much of a struggle. I've owned my own businesses for 35 years. And being a businessman, when you work with self-publishing companies that many times do tend to be predators, you have to stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
Now, many authors who are working with a self-publishing company, they have a story to tell and stars in their eyes. They don't have a business background. So when charges and fees and, well, you're going to have to pay this and you're going to have to pay that, when those things come up, they just say, well, okay, if that's what I have to do, that's what I have to do. And my particular publisher just decided, we parted company just recently, but I had been held hostage for 7 months.
It's ridiculous.
And I have the manuscript finished for volume 2. Volume 2 and volume 3 are just a continuation of these messages and teachings that were received over a period of 22 years. Volume 1 starts in August of 1977, when she was first led to sit down in a dedicated session. And it only covers, the entire book only covers 4.5 months.
Right.
Through the end of December of 77.
Right.
And Wilma, again, had received in thought. She had written down the message that was on the back cover of the book. But when she was led to sit down in these sessions, she had set up an electric typewriter in her kitchen. And she would go in, be led in her mind, it's time to receive. She would light a candle, say a prayer, ask for protection, because you are opening your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yes.
And she said she would see 3 or 4 words just float into her mind and hang there. And they would not go away until she typed them. Once she typed those 3 or 4 words, they would just fade away, and 3 or 4 more would show up. So she was taking dictation. This was not channeling.
Yeah.
This was not automatic writing. She was taking dictation.
Right. And it would take like 4 hours or so, too.
Now, in a session, and in a session, she would always get a message for her and a message for me, because she knew how involved I was with this and how interested. So she would always get a message for her. And then it's like her spirit teachers would move in with a message for her.
Yeah.
And then after just a short break, my spirit teachers would move in with a message for me. And one of the examples, something interesting that I still to this day can't get over, the depth and vision that these spirit teachers have for what's going to happen in the future. They know what's going to happen and how far ahead they can see. So these messages and teachings that Wilma first started receiving in August of 77 make up volume 1. In March of 1978, she was receiving a message. And one of the lines in this message says, "Many will be the revelations concerning your book." Now, she had only been receiving these messages and teachings for 7-8 months.
Wow.
They would continue for another 20 years.
Wow.
And she had no intentions whatsoever in March of 1978 of publishing a book or even knowing how long these messages and teachings would continue to be received and whether she'd even have enough information. I mean, publishing a book was the last thought in her mind.
Yep.
But in March of 78, these spirit teachers knew that this book was going to be published.
That's pretty intense. That's a lot to process.
Well, and I mean, it's not that they knew, they could just see it.
Right.
It's not that they just knew. That's how far ahead they can see.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Everyone, I mean, really, the people that get veered off of their track, and your spirit guides are trying to keep you on track. That's what I mean about that slap in the head. Like, don't go left, stay right, and just to make sure that, you're going to end up where you're supposed to be.
Right.
But sometimes we do have to stumble and fall to get to where we're supposed to be. So that's the one thing that people have to understand too. Life isn't all sunshine, daisies, lollipops. It has to have its ups and downs.
It does. It does.
It does.
And I was once, what Bob? I was once watching a TV show. It was new, a news program, and this woman was talking about toxic positivity, and I took such negative. I was like, seriously, you're telling me that being positive, finding the positive in something, even in the negative, is toxic? Yes, we admit that there's negative in our lives, but there's no such thing as toxic positivity, not in my books. So that's the only thing I ever found negative with. But there's positive in everything, and everyone's message has a meaning to somebody else because we're in the same place at different times.
Yep.
That's true. Yep. That's true. And speaking of publishers, Gina, when I was looking for a publisher, I started with the big boys in New York, but because I'm a nobody, you can't really get published unless you have a TV show or a platform. And that is why I ended up self-publishing the book. But I know what I've got. I know how this can reach and touch people's lives.
Yeah, definitely.
I was on a number of publishers' websites when I was trying to decide on a self-publishing company to go with. And one of the publishing websites I was on, they asked a number of questions about your work. Mm-hmm. One of the questions was, what makes your material unique? Why would anyone want to read this? And I thought, well, what an amazing question. Yeah. I'd never even thought about it before. And as I was sitting here where I'm sitting right now at my computer, an answer started to be dictated to my mind. And may I share this with your audience?
Yes.
This is what I was given in answer to that question. The uniqueness of any material is in the manner in which it touches the soul. An open and searching mind pulls the soul and the body in which it inhabits onward and upward with hunger and determination in its quest for spiritual nourishment, ever mindful that the path upon which we walk is the path toward God. Lives lived, experiences endured, goals accomplished, and loved ones lost are all encounters upon that path. Strive always for the highest possible communication with our Heavenly Father. Believe in yourself as the Father within you is guiding, leading, directing, and comforting you upon this journey that we call life. Blessings be upon you as you walk your chosen pathway. When it got to the end, it just stopped.
Hmm.
And I take no credit for that whatsoever.
That's amazing.
It's nice.
So what was the response to that
The response from who?
From
from
the
the
publishers.
publishing company?
Oh, I never heard from them again.
Well,
I submitted that. It was as an online form. I submitted it along with my information. Never heard from them again.
wow.
Their
Wow.
loss.
It is totally.
Yes.
But just
Well,
the fact
again,
that the question was asked and that I had an answer dictated to my mind, I felt privileged to be able to receive that.
Yeah.
And it's something that I've typed up later and say, well, I typed it as I received it.
Yeah.
And then I typed it up in a different format.
Yeah.
And I have
no,
it.
you do though. You have another like set of teachings, messages that you write. What is the name of what you?
Oh, I have
yours?
a set of writings that I offer on my website, spiritspeaks.com. They're called Spiritual Parchment Prints. It's a set of 3 writings that I have put on parchment paper. Can I show one of them?
Yes.
That is what they look like.
Oh, that's really nice.
Put them full.
Yeah.
And it's a set of 3. 2 of them I wrote and take credit for. One is a message, a personal message that was given for me that I take no credit for. I used to own a satellite dish company. I did satellite dishes for 22 years. And I had come home from work one evening, went upstairs to change clothes, and the words greatness and spirit came into my mind. I knew it was incoming. So I opened a drawer, pulled out a tablet and a pen, and I started writing down the words. And I was scribbling to keep up. It was coming so fast. And the next day when I tried to type it up, I had trouble reading my words because I'd scribbled so fast.
That's me.
And
Yeah.
now I feel this was a personal message given for me, but I believe it applies to all of us who are in this work. May I share this with your audience?
Yes, please.
Greatness and spirit shall touch the lives of many whom you will come into contact with. Hearts and lives will be touched and changed by your presence. Enable yourself by the will of your being to respect and respond to the changes in individuals as you become aware of the true potential of your spirit. In the eyes of God, thou hast made thyself worthy of all the riches and gifts of spirit that shall be forthcoming unto you. Be as you will in relationship to the Holy Spirit that inhabits and dwells within thy being at this time. Look always to the future with anticipation and gladness, for thou hast made thyself a living receptacle for the Spirit of God, and all good things shall come to thee.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
I mean,
That
that's
could be something that you can start your day with.
That's a pretty good personal message to receive.
Yeah,
But
the
again,
best.
I feel like it applies to all of us who are in this work.
Absolutely.
And so that is one of the 3 that I offer. They're real reasonable. They're on my website, spiritspeaks.com. So if anybody would like to have a set of those, they can visit the website.
Right. And then there's a bunch of stuff on the website. You also have our background, the background picture that you see on our shot here is this picture. Now this picture is on your site, and if you scroll your mouse around the picture, there are 5 hidden messages.
Right. I actually created that just for people to be able to take a journey through the painting. And so on the website, you'll click on it once, and it takes you to a screen where you can find the 5 hidden messages that are in that painting. Now, these are not messages that Wilma Jean received. These are messages and writings that correspond with what you clicked on in the picture. But the last message is the message posted on the back cover of the book. And then you can click on that, and continue, and you can get deeper in there, and you can read excerpts from volume 1 of the book. It goes back in there quite a ways. I mean, you can get in there pretty deep.
That's really something.
It's just a journey. I guess it weeds out those who aren't sincere seekers of truth.
Yeah.
On my website, it says for all sincere seekers of truth. And then it says when the student is ready, a teacher will appear.
Mm-hmm.
And that has always been appropriate for me, like you said in your introductory video.
Right.
And as a seeker, if you put out the vibration, if you put out the thought that you want to know, you want to learn, people will be led to you, books will be led to you, movies will be led to you.
Absolutely.
And it's amazing how you'll turn a corner and there is the next step that you need to take on your journey.
Yeah.
And life is a journey.
Yes.
The Urantia book, you talked about the Urantia book, which was really an amazing body of work. It's advanced material, 2,107 pages. It's my light reading.
Yeah, yeah, right. That'd be
But you don't read it like a novel. It's a series of papers that are numbered and titled. But one of the statements in the Urantia book, it says that we obtain knowledge, gain experience, and create wisdom. Now that requires a passage of time. People say, I want enlightenment and I want it right now. Well, you don't get enlightenment right now.
No.
I did a book signing. We were talking about Lilydale, New York.
Right.
And I did a book signing up there. They have my book in the bookstore there. And there was a girl that was there with her mother. She was probably 19 years old. And it was her birthday, and her mother had brought her to Lilydale to get a reading, and she was interested in this sort of thing. And I said, "What did you ask for your birthday?" And she said, "Enlightenment."
Wow.
And at 19.
That's awesome.
And I said, "Well, you can't get that as a gift." I said, it takes a passage of time, and you have to accumulate the knowledge and the information, and you create that wisdom. The enlightenment is shared. And, young people, they just don't seem to have any concept of any of this. They can't get their face out of their smartphones. They can't turn off the TV. They jump in the car. The first thing they do is turn on the radio. And they're so out of touch with anything that's not, on Facebook or social media. They don't know how to make eye contact because they don't talk to anybody in person. It's all messages and texting.
Oh, well, yeah, and there's bravery behind the keyboard.
Well,
you're not face to face with someone too.
Keyboard, but they're losing all their social skills. Their social.
I have to disagree with that a little bit.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I said I have to disagree with that a little bit. I'm going to be controversial here. It depending on the age bracket you're looking at.
Oh, I said people.
Okay, but the 9 and 10-year-olds, the 6 to 10-year-olds, the ones that I've seen, there's amazing understanding coming from them.
Oh,
I have a 6-year-old niece who is like, since she's been a child, she's always been focused on spirit and the things that she comes up with. I'm like, okay, and I know the older ones in the teenage years, because they like for me myself, when I got into my teenage years, I was like, I'm shutting all this stuff down because nobody understands what I'm going through and understands what I'm talking about. Eventually I opened up. Okay, I was waiting till I was 50 years old to open it up, but it took a little while. But I think the younger ones, and the thing is, we as adults have to allow them to be that open, because there are so many parents out there.
Yeah, but what he was talking about is that the kids,
young adults. I'm talking young adults, not teenagers, not young
not
people.
opening themselves up.
We're talking people up like 30 years old who are so wrapped up in themselves, and they've had, excuse me for saying this, but they've had the liberal indoctrination of 14 years of reading, of trying to teach all this out of them, and they just haven't been taught morals and values and patriotism and all of the things that we were taught when we were kids growing up in school.
Yeah, it seems like there's a gap. There's a gap in the
Yeah,
like a missing link. I don't know what it is, but that the entitled generation, that's what I call them, that they don't feel like they have to do anything and everything needs to be given to them. And I was never like that. I can't understand that. But it is what it is. But now I think it's turning and I think it's going more. I think our communities, because of social media, some of it is really good for the community and some of it's really bad. But the people that are in it for the right reasons, and this communication and this being able to use social media and venues like this one to connect with that person that you would not, how else would I connect with you? I mean, be able to see
sure.
your face, be able to have this conversation, be able to learn from you, if we didn't have this venue. So it is good and it's bad, because some people abuse it.
Well,
Whereas
there really is a spiritual awakening going on right
And
now.
it really is.
They
Yeah,
talk about how interest in organized religion and church attendance is down. Part of that, again, is because
COVID.
young people have been almost taught against it and not taught and brought up, with the morals and values and that our parents and grandparents taught us. But there is a spiritual awakening in mediums and that sort of thing going on right now.
Hmm.
And how you talk to people all over the world in customer service, you never know where you're going to reach. Where are you at? Nicaragua, Costa Rica, the Philippines. I
Yep.
talked to India twice this morning,
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah,
and
Yeah.
I always
Bob
try
was
and
talking to some of them people not too happily the
share
other
this
day.
information. I talked to a nice lady in Las Vegas 2 or 3 days ago, and I always try and share this. I say, well, you sound intelligent. Do you like to read? I'm an author. I've published a book. So I share the website and the information. And it's amazing how many people say, I believe I was meant to take this call today. They said, you don't know how badly I needed to hear this information. And it feels good to be able to share something that will help people.
Mm. Hmm. Yeah, I'm just getting this message. I want to see what this is, make sure everything's okay. All right, everything's fine. I usually don't get messages during the show, so I'm like, oh, is there something happening? But no, it's all good. But yeah, I do agree with that, and I think people come into people's lives for a reason at the specific time that they need to be there. The messages that they're going to get are what they're going to get. I just think that you, with doing this, putting this out, you're going to reach like millions, and inspire millions of people to get into their own spirit guides, like look for their own spirit guides, like open that channel, open that door for them.
That's really the purpose of these messages and teachings, not only to share what Wilma Jean received and the teachings that these spirit teachers took their time to reach out and present to her, dictate to her word for word. And how do you dictate a sentence that's 115, 120 words long, 3 and 4 words at a time? And hold
same.
that thought. I mean, how could I couldn't do that.
No, I can't remember what I went in the room for.
And, and I have the manuscript for volume 2 is complete. I'm ready to submit it. And I'm in talks right now with another publisher. My distributor is Ingram in Tennessee. They're a national distributor. So I have to make sure that I keep that account active for books that are sold on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. Right now, Balboa Press is my current publisher, and you can buy, the book is available there.
Yeah.
So just to allow people the opportunity, again, to like you said, to realize that this is real, this is available, and that they can be inspired to want to reach out and connect with their own spirit guides and spirit teachers to receive information and guidance, direction for whatever it is they're dealing with.
Right.
Whatever it is they're going through, they should know that we're not alone.
We are so not alone.
No,
We know that. Oh my gosh,
yep,
do we know that we are not alone?
But there's a lot of people that say, this is a one-shot existence, and then when you die, that's it. And there
Nope.
really is no death. It's just graduation. You never really are.
where energy can't be diminished. I mean, it can't be squashed. It can't be eliminated. It just morphs. It changes.
Well, we ride around in these bodies the way we ride around in our cars.
Mm-hmm.
These bodies are just a vehicle to negotiate this physical plane.
Mm-hmm.
We're born to a certain set of parents in a certain social station. And I have asked a number of people, I said, look at the children born to Bill Gates and Steven Spielberg. They'll want for nothing. I mean, granted, they'll have their challenges, but that kind of wealth and connections will make their life a lot easier.
Right.
And then you have children born to alcoholic fathers and drug addicted mothers, abusive parents. I mean, you could be born in communist China or North Korea or Iraq. Is it just random? Is it just luck of the draw? Did Bill
Is
Gates
it karma?
well, did Bill Gates and Steven Spielberg's kids just win the lottery?
Right.
Or are we assigned? Are we assigned to a certain set of parents in a certain social station based on what it is we're supposed to learn in this lifetime? And if you're open to that, then you're open to reincarnation.
Yep.
There's a lot of possibilities. And we're just talking this planet, not to mention all the other planets in the universe. You know, they've got us out here on the Earth, which is in the low rent district of the Milky Way, out here where we can't contaminate anyone.
This is probably a good thing. We're working on getting out there, though. That's the thing. You know, that scares me. It really does.
What scares you?
Man leaving our planet to go live on other planets and like spreading our so-called humanity through the universe. Like I just think we need to be so much more evolved to do this.
Well,
than we are.
I mean, you know, when people do explore, when they go off, and one of the things that they talk about America is that for all that America has done for the world, we never went in to conquer. As a country, we fought, you know, World War I and World War II, not for territory, not for power and control.
Allies.
But we fought for freedom. And at the end of the war, what did we do? We rebuilt the countries. We rebuilt and got them back on their feet. And in all of history, how many countries have done that? Where, you know, countries for all of history would go in and conquer, take over territory, capture resources, plunder, the spoils of war. Mm-hmm. America didn't do that. Mm-mm. So one of the things that I'll share while we're talking about this is on my website, spiritspeaks.com, on Wilma Jean's television interview that you posted a picture of on your nice video at the beginning. Posted on her television interview is a sneak peek from Volume 2, a message from Volume 2 that I have posted on her television interview. This is the only time in 22 years we're in a session where Wilma Jean was led to sit down and receive. 2 different spirit teachers moved in the same session, gave 2 different messages, and signed 2 different names. And it was obvious that the second teacher was a different teacher than the first, because the whole cadence and phrasing of the message is different. But these messages, almost every one of these messages end with just a beautiful last tagline, or a gorgeous, deep, profound last paragraph. It's like that's how they end the message. And the second teacher's message, where the 2 teachers moved in, the last paragraph of this message, may I share this with your audience?
Yes.
And he says, "You are not as sheep, herded here and there, but you are likened unto the lamb that is cared for individually, nourished and loved, until the full and total development allows it to be master of itself. So is man so kept and denied only those things that would not in the long run nourish his spirit. God is all wise and loving in his dispensations. We are not to judge the workings of our Father, nor are we to judge each other. Work always to improve your own beings, for in the end time, there lies your soul, with all the nourishment that you have given it, totally dependent upon the outcome of your intentions. And that message was signed, your loving spiritual teacher.
That's awesome. Like some of these messages, she said the signature was blurred, so she couldn't tell who it was.
Sometimes she would see a name, not a signature. She would see a name, your loving guide, your loving spiritual teacher.
Yeah.
Sometimes it would be in plural, your loving spiritual teachers. She received a message that was signed, your spiritual counterpart. I have messages to me, addressed to me, that were signed, your spirit brothers, your spirit light.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you just don't know. Now she did, I think it's in volume 1, she did see initials that were
LS.
a script, and she tried to duplicate it, and it was an LZ.
Oh, LZ.
LZ.
Yep.
And then later, a signature, a name was given, and it was L Zebedish.
Right.
But there's no way to know. There's no way to know who that is. We don't. There's just no way to know.
Right.
Yeah.
But
they are real, and they are somewhere other than here.
So she's just so beautiful. I'm just looking at this picture right here. It's like movie star. She is like movie star beautiful, classic, timeless. So gorgeous. But what a soul. If you watch the interview, you'll see how sweet she really is, and how passionate she is about giving out this message too,
And
is the interview on YouTube?
If you go to his site, you can click a link.
Okay, because I put the link to his website in the chat.
If you go to spiritspeaks.com, Mama,
Mm-hmm.
you will see at the top, there's tabs across the top, and it shows Wilma Jean's television interview.
Okay.
And if you click on that, you can watch her interview. And it wasn't Good Morning America or anything. It was given in Cincinnati, Ohio. It was a local cable talk show.
Yeah.
But she had spoken to women's groups. She'd been written up in the newspaper. She had taught a series of classes.
Yeah.
So that her television interview is posted on there, along with a message from volume 2. And the first teacher's message is really an amazing message. It was a little more than a long paragraph, but really profound. Do we have time for me to share that with your audience?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Are you sure?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will share this. So this was the first time in all of these sessions that 2 different spirit teachers moved in the same session.
Okay.
Gave 2 different messages, signed 2 different names. This was the first teacher's message. There's a resurrection period through which man must travel in order to come into the realm of things godlike. You are to consume and digest all that is given here, as this comes from one highly qualified to meet the needs of this generation. You are not the sole property of yourselves. God still holds the everlasting command over your being, and in him must one take refuge. You are to be considered as one who has been stripped of all belongings and left to die by the wayside. In this manner, are you then open to any help that would be forthcoming? You are by your very nature ones who would depend on your own intellect to carry you through. However, by giving of your soul into the hands of God, do you prosper and develop more freely into that which denies the outcome of some situations, knowing full well that it is the hand of God leading and directing you so that you may arise victorious in the end. There is never a time when you will be without the Father, nor his ever-loving approaches, to see that you follow the path that directs you homeward. Take note that we say homeward. As your heavenly Father so resides in that vast insurmountable environment of time and space, so shall ye abide in joint communication with him by the grace with which he covers you and by your ability to accept this grace and use it for your own development. There are others here who wish to make themselves known to you, so I will step aside for this time. My love and devotion follows you as you trot onward but ever faithful to your goal. That was signed, your loving guide. Now, the next to the last line is the line that just jumps out at you. He says there are others here who wish to make themselves known to you. My question is, who are the others and where is here?
Yeah, I know, right?
What do
I
you mean
always
there
think
are
I always
others
think of
here?
them
Where
like the
are you in
Akashic
relation
record
to us on
keepers,
this physical
Yeah.
plane?
right?
Inquiring minds want to know. Aren't you
Exactly.
an inquirer?
But what
Yeah.
I mean, you ask the questions, they're only going to give you the answers that you need at that time, or you're able to get.
Well,
I
I
don't
mean,
think we're supposed to know everything.
these are real spiritual beings dictating messages from a position above this physical plane. Now,
Exactly.
whether they're on our side, whether they're on this physical plane, but existing at such a high vibration, the only way that we can communicate with them is by thought, or whether they're on the other side of this physical plane. We don't know what the transition is once you graduate. You
Hmm.
graduate from this physical existence, and your soul and your personality goes somewhere.
Hmm.
And look at the spirit mediums that are able to contact those who have crossed over and
Hmm.
get messages and information,
Hmm.
in readings.
Hmm.
Well, those people, those souls, those personalities, those people are still existing somewhere.
Yes, they are. Mama was getting messages today, like just randomly. She hasn't done this in a while, like getting just something really stuck in her, just talking to one person in particular. But, that person, she was not able to
I wasn't in
relay
the time or the
the
place to give a
message.
message, but
Yeah.
I got a couple
You
of smacks
explaining,
upside the back of the head as I put them.
yeah, like she knows, oof, overwhelming,
Mm.
because she's very gifted that way, as are you. Now, you said you were doing what, like psychometry type reading. So someone gives you like here, and you hold on to it, and you could write down like a page and a half, and
When I was younger, I was involved with a group in Cincinnati called Psychic World, and it was a group of psychics that would meet once a month. And I had got involved. There was a lady that was teaching classes, and I had never done this before. But again, like we were talking about, we all have this innate ability to be able to receive.
yeah.
And so I was given a table. I evidently was pretty good, so I was given a table with the group, and people would come in and sit down at my table. I did psychometry, could hold rings, watches, keys, anything that carried a person's vibration. And I would get a message, I would get information on that person. And I wouldn't pump them for information. The only thing I would ask was their first name. I had a legal tablet, and they would give me something to hold, a piece of jewelry, whatever it was that they wanted me to hold. And I would just relax my mind. I didn't really even ask. I would just relax my mind, and I would start to get thoughts, words, incoming words to my mind that I would write down. Sometimes I would get a page, page and a half. When it got to the end, it would just stop. And I would read it to them. Sometimes they'd cry.
Hmm.
And it was
Yeah.
more confirmation rather than prophecy. It was just confirming what they were going through. Sometimes they would ask questions, and I'd see what I could do. But I wasn't like any of these well-known psychics or readers. It was just an ability that we all have to be able to receive. And people who are interested in this information, who are interested in contacting their spirit guides and spirit teachers, you need to be able to differentiate between a thought that's incoming and a thought that you think. A
Hmm.
thought that you think has a different feel in your mind than a thought that comes into your mind when you're not thinking about anything at all.
Right.
And you need to be able to pay attention to that.
Right.
But you also need to do something very important. You need to establish a filter. When you open your mind, establish a filter of protection, an aura of
Yes.
protection. And some people use an affirmation. And years ago, so long ago, I don't even remember when it came into my mind, I was given an affirmation. And it said, "Let no thoughts, ideas, or information be made known to my mind that does not come from God or his direct representatives." That is my filter.
That's
Now you
perfect.
can you can
Perfect.
think anything you want. You can think negative thoughts. You can think about doing away with your neighbor. But if it's not a
My
thought that
sister.
you
Couple
feel
of
good
them.
to think, If it's not a thought that you deliberately think, you can banish that thought. We all have, we have a thought system. Think of it as a little mini solar system within our minds. And we have a thought system, and we can allow or reject any thought that comes into our mind. We have that control if we just exert a little authority over it. And it's not difficult. I mean, it takes some discipline. It takes some concentration. And you may not be thinking anything at all, and this negative thought will come into your mind.
Exactly.
And
oh my gosh. Sometimes I swear it's like the devil will creep into my brain and I have to like get that out of my head, Seriously.
And it could be a warning. It could be a warning that you need to watch out for this person. But it could also be just, evil and negativity may exist. It does not exist for me because I don't allow it any space in my thought system.
Yeah, no.
Everyone has that ability.
And it's like it's quickly shut down.
So you need to pay attention to your thoughts, and you can choose what you want to accept and allow to stay there, and what you want to reject and just banish away from your sphere of influence, for lack of a better word.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like that. I well put, honestly, well put. And we're like so close. We this probably would be a good time to just do the commercial break and come back before we get into anything else. More profound.
I do want to be able to have to cut off in the middle, so no.
Yeah, I want to show the you made the little commercial for TV, and that is on your site too. I'm going to play that before I play my ads because it's really it's cute. It's short and it's concise and cute.
Thanks, Gina.
Here it is.
Spirit speaks to the hungry soul. When the student is ready, a teacher will appear. Are you ready?
So isn't that, I mean, it's like,
short.
What more do you need?
Short and to the point.
Exactly. Perfect. Okay, so now here are our commercials, and we'll be back in a little bit. I'm going to play 3 of them, so it'll be a little while. All right, but we'll be back. The Fox Den is now proudly sponsored by Vortex Ghost Gear, one of the leading fabricators of paranormal equipment. Bob Christopher is the founder and creator of Vortex Ghost Gear. He has decades of investigating, starting with his team at NEPA, and as lead in the popular local TV show Ghost Detectives, he has experience of how spirits could be seen or heard. Using this knowledge, he has manufactured equipment for specific scenarios of spirit manifestation and communication. He is the only manufacturer of the popular lifelike trigger prop cats and dogs. Using proximity meters wired to lights and sound, these prove to be highly effective communication devices in the field of study. The HTO, another Vortex exclusive, allowing specific items to be the highlight or trigger of your investigation. For example, place the item on a metal tray or attach directly to any metal object such as keys or glasses that continue to go missing or moved. Ask the spirit to touch the item. The HTO will light. It has a sound option as well. This device was used in Travel Channel's Ghost Nation with great results. The Dome, a static detector, can be the most useful device in your gear bag. This is to back up the theory that the spirits manifest using static electricity. Using several, you can track a spirit, for example, walking down a hallway, setting off each as it passes. The geophone detects vibrations. This is another way to track movement. If a claim is footsteps in the hallway or stairwell, set the sensitivity and place the device in that area. Its band of lights will show a range of vibrations from the slightest tapping, lighting only a few lights, to the loudest thumping, lighting the entire range. The Easy Scan ghost boxes are very popular due to the ease of use. They are custom decorated to the individual or team using them. Bob programs and uses an Arduino-based computer scanning FM waves to potentially communicate with the spirit realm in real time. Every box is unique and all custom hand decorated by Gina Bankston. The V-Pod has a special place for those who love the idea of REM pods. Use this sleeker, smaller, easier to transport device. It is a must-have in your gear bag. Take your investigating to the next level with many of Vortex Ghost Gear's unique and custom creations by Bob Christopher. Visit www.vortexghostgear.com to view all the products and get your equipment today. You can also investigate with Bob and Gina with ghostly excursions, taking people to some of the most haunted locations in the USA. Visit www.ghostlyexcursions.com and join us on our next adventure. Welcome to Vortex Ghost Gear's newest addition to the paranormal equipment lineup. It's called Cryptocords, and this is a musical, motion-activated coffin-shaped box. The device works first by inserting 4 AAA batteries. Point the box with the white motion sensor in the direction you wish to monitor. Push the red power button to turn on the device. The music will sound and the light will turn on, only for a brief time as it sets itself. The box activates if something crosses or interacts within its range, stemming from the device's sensor in a V pattern to approximately 30 feet. If the barrier is broken quickly, as in if something walks in front of it briefly, the device will sound, the light will turn on, but only for a brief time, and then it will stop and reset itself. If something continuously moves in front of the device, the music will light and stay on longer. Keep waving your hand in front of the device to test that. Both the box and the music are customizable. As for the design, it can be almost anything, from our basic cross design to your team logo, to your favorite character, theme, or place to investigate, or if you have a haunted location. The music can also be almost anything. This we ask you to find and send to us. It has to be an MP3. Instrument only works best in up to 2 minutes. If your choice will work, we'll use it. As we custom build and hand paint each box, we always ask for your patience upon ordering. We create each box with pride and send as soon as we possibly can. We have so much more to offer at Vortex Ghost Gear. We welcome you to check out the site for all the paranormal equipment available, including our trigger prop cats and dogs, where there are some new additions to the kennel: the Dome, the V-Pod, the HDO, the Geophone, and IR lights. We ask you go to www.vortexghostgear.com and happy hunting. And we're back.
I thought you said 3.
Huh?
It's okay, never mind.
I know, I did, but you know what? I'm not going to play the next one.
He's not well anyway right now, so.
I know, so I don't want to push
Cool.
that. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Make more work for the poor guy as he's getting better from the hospital. But welcome back, Michael. I hope you're having a good time with us.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we're learning a lot from you. I don't know, you didn't really watch those ads, but we do, I told you before, we were in the paranormal field and the paranormal community, and we communicate with spirits or they interact with some of these devices that we build and make and sell and such. And also we get messages, EVPs and things like that we can get solid proof of, scientifically proof of, where you're getting messages coming directly to you. Mama gets messages to her. I get visions, like pictures, and like I can see it, having a conversation with someone, a picture will come into my mind, and then, at the end of the conversation, they say the exact same thing that I was seeing, just like, huh. But
when we're off the air, you can do me.
I know, right? We always do those things. But speaking of getting messages and such, now are you connected with your mother in the spirit realm? Like, are you talking, communicating?
A number of people have asked that, and I really feel like we're working together, but I have never, since my mother's passed away, And I've never really felt a presence or any kind of direct communication like some people say they feel. My sister is a flight attendant with Delta, based out of Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
And she was on a layover in Orlando, and she was walking by herself through an industrial area on her way to a restaurant to eat, one afternoon, early evening. It was still daylight. And she said, as she was walking by herself, she said she suddenly felt Mother Wilma Jean's presence. And she said a thought came into her mind, and it said, "So this is what you do."
Oh,
So yeah.
And Jamie, my sister, has had a number of instances where Mother had come through and has given her information, or she felt a presence, or she would hear a song in her mind that was
Mhm.
a song that and so, but for, not for any particular reason, I have never had that experience. But I think she knows what I'm doing.
Yeah, I think so, because I mean, this whole book, it's messages for you and for her. So specific. So I can't see her. I don't think she, maybe it is that she feels like you're okay. You
yes.
don't, you know what I mean? You have your path. You were okay before she was getting these messages. You have your path, and you have your abilities, and she's good with it. And she knows you're going to go far and you're going to do well.
I believe that's true. And
It's
there is such a hunger for this material right now.
There
And it
is.
just seems like, again, when you talk to people and they say, I just really needed this at this time, I must have been meant to talk to you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's good to be able to share this, not only for the teachings that are available, but for the letting people know that they can communicate with their own spirit guides, spirit teachers as well.
Yeah. Well, it showed you. I've never done it before. I've never done like any automatic writing or anything like that. But reading this book, I got inspired to try. And so I did. I sat back, I held my hand up, I held my head up, I closed my eyes, and I just asked, is this something I can do? Or is there someone that I can learn how to do this from, who could be my teacher? And I started writing out. It looked like maybe it could be Chris. I'm not sure, but I actually wrote it in your book because this is when I was doing it. There's a note section in the back, so it looks like Chris on the top, and then this was kind of like this area. I guess I wasn't asking the right questions, and then I and I never looked at the paper, so I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know if I'm scribbling, if it was going to make any sense, or if it was going to be just a bunch of this, And then I said, well, if I continue this, will you communicate with me? And to me, that looks like a yes. And then it just went whoop, right back to the other side, like, and just pull, and it's pulling my hand. I'm not pushing it; it's pulling my hand. And then I said, "Well, what is my part of this? What is my process? What role am I playing in this?" And this, to me, looks like seer. It's like the S is coming out of the thing, but it's a definite EER. So, you know, and like I told you, like I get these flashes, these pictures. So I don't know. But, I've never done anything like that before, but I just thought that was fascinating,
Oh, it
you
is.
know.
It is.
And it was, and it was worth a try, because you never know. So now I'm going to try to do that, at other times, and see if I get any kind of messages or not, through automatic writing. Like, you see the words. I never see the words. I'll get inspired. I'll get inspirations, but the pictures are vivid.
Well, Wilma, like I said, I have read about automatic writing where your hand will move and you're
Yeah.
just, and I know about it. I've never done that myself. And then channeling, people channel and they will channel a Cherokee Indian chief that is a spirit guide. The Cherokee Indian chiefs always seem to come through.
Yeah.
And so you don't know why, but that information, I guess it depends on the person and the channel that they're, opening their mind to.
Sharon, I mean, I'm just like, she wrote this before we went to break. So I'm trying to think of what we were talking about when she says, why do they say time since time is man-made? So I'm not sure what we were talking about at that point. And Debbie says she thinks the spiritual world is fascinating. So do I, because there's so many different venues and areas and aspects to it. And this is what you and I were talking about earlier, Michael,
Right.
was everyone's different gifts. And all the different gifts need to come together to form a whole.
Could I share an answer on time?
Yes, please.
And this is something that I have thought about for quite a while, but time is a series of moment points. She said that time is man-made. And, we all make our various trips around the sun. Age is just a matter of keeping score. And there is no time. Time is a series of moment points. And as we sit here talking, it's now. And what you and I, either one, were doing a week ago, for us at that time was now. And what either one of us are going to be doing a week or 10 days from this moment point is going to be now. Well, the trick is to live in the eternal now. And there is no time unless you want to keep track. And then you have people working a job. They've been there 10 years. They've only got 10, 20 more years to go before they can retire. And they start counting down the years. Yeah. Thanks, Sharon. They start counting down the years. And they can't wait to retire. Only 8 more years, 6 more years, 4 more years to retire. And then they retire. They're 62 or 58, however old they are. And they're not working anymore. Then what do you do? You grow old and die.
Get in trouble.
Well, not too many people getting in trouble at 58 or 62.
Oh,
yeah, I'm 58. I can get in trouble.
I'll go be 60 this year. I can.
You don't look like a troublemaker, Mama.
You don't know me well. I'm not a redhead for nothing. That's all I can say.
Yeah, she can be a troublemaker, but no, she's really got just the biggest heart of gold, but the biggest heart of anybody I've ever met.
But time is a perspective. And if you have the proper, I shouldn't say proper, everyone it's proper for whoever it is that's thinking about it. When you're young, you're invulnerable. There's no time. There's no old age.
You think 30.
You have your whole life ahead of you.
Yeah.
When we were 30, we thought 60 was ancient. I'm 60, and it's like, psst.
I know. Now it's like 80 and 90 is ancient.
60 the new 40 or something. What do they say?
It is, yes.
Yeah. You know what I keep saying is that I'm multi-aged. My body, my physical body will be 60 this year. My mind at times can be 16, 15, 16. Yeah. But my soul is ageless.
Well, people, they have a perspective and they can look at the way. There you go. I'm like 52 and I'm 25 in my mind.
Right. Yeah. Reverse the things. My kids used to say I was 32.
25
if anybody asked them how old I was, they kept saying 32, 32, 32 for like years. I was 32 according to them. I'm like, all right,
Well, we're in better shape. We're healthier. We eat better. And so, I swim, I water ski. I just try and stay in good shape. So
I can't water ski. Oh my God, I'd be in traction.
I slalom ski on one ski, which is a lot easier. But it takes a lot of work. And I've actually have been so busy. I've got a ski boat at a lake down in Kentucky. And so I've been busy and really haven't been down. So I would probably have to learn all over again.
What?
So, but that, it's just a matter of keeping score as far as time and age and the number of trips you've made around the sun.
It's like if you go to work, sometimes when you go to work and the day seems to drag on forever, but the next 8-hour shift goes by in a blink of an eye. So it's just, and hey, by the way, I surf the internet.
No, I did water skiing, when I was like, I don't know, 20s or something. That's when I was in peak physical shape in my life. I mean, I was nothing but one big muscle. My whole body. I have never pulled more muscles in my entire life than doing water skiing. Even muscles in my toes were pulled. I said,
Oh
no,
my God.
no, never again.
Well, but once it gets better, once those muscles have
Sharon
built
says,
up,
yeah, Sharon said she'll take me, and she only goes 70 miles an hour.
That's what you call a friend. You're
I know.
good.
I know. I
I'll
said
be
I
sitting in the
liked
boat
you
going,
before, Sharon. Don't
well,
make me have to change my mind.
you speed slower on two skis than you do on one. But it's hard to keep your feet together. It's a little difficult to keep your feet together, but it's easier to stay up.
with my luck, I do the splits.
Well,
Yep, I pretty much
you
did
won't
that.
you
I
won't do
did it.
that very often. Once it's just like
I've done
roller
it
skate.
once already. Thank you.
Can you roller skate?
Yeah.
Used to, not
All right,
anymore.
if you can roller skate, you can water ski. It's just a
No,
matter
it's a whole different animal. You
well, it's,
hang on,
but you
feel
have
it's
to be
getting
strong
up,
enough
and
to hold on.
it is pulling all those muscles just to get up. It's once you're up, it's fine. It's it's just getting up and then
But
getting stable.
you're using muscles you've never used before.
Right.
And you're
True.
sore for a while. I was really sore as I was learning how. I taught myself and I was sore and I fell down a lot, but eventually you don't fall down anymore.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Okay, so moving on.
Let's get back to the book.
Can I share a paragraph here from another message?
Yes, please.
Absolutely.
All right. This is from volume 2, and I've been working on finishing. Like I said, I have the manuscript pretty much completed from volume 2. But just these, like I said, the last paragraph, many times, they'll end with this profound last paragraph. And this is a message from March of 1995. And many times, Wilma would put a blank sheet of paper in the electric typewriter, drop down 5 lines, indent 5 spaces, just like you were going to do a letter. She would hold her margin down the left side, but type all the way to the right-hand edge of the paper, and many times hyphenate when it wasn't necessarily grammatically correct. Repeatedly on a full-page, single-space typed message with no paragraphs, these spirit teachers will put the last word in the bottom right-hand corner of the paper so tight, all you can place is a period.
Wow.
Now, how can you do that? And I had to break these messages up into paragraphs for the book because you could not read one unbroken message with no paragraphs. You had to be able to read a paragraph and think about it and then read the paragraph over. So this particular message on March 10th was a full-page message, no paragraphs, last word in the bottom right-hand corner of the paper that tight. But this is the last paragraph. It says, keep yourself secure in the knowledge that although you have been a willing subject, there has been a development of sorts that has taken place within your consciousness of which you were not aware, but has gained for you entry into a class of receivers who will create an atmosphere of hope for those who are in their stages of development and have not yet achieved their maturity that advances the soul more rapidly once the source of referred material is recognized and accepted as being that true word of God, who has so positioned himself in a manner that allows a close and enduring quality of himself to be realized, while we are yet dependent upon his grace to reveal his authority and his will, so that we may be willing vessels waiting to be filled with his love and his glory that will carry us over these hard places that brings into play in order that we might finish this race intact. That paragraph was one sentence.
Wow.
One unbroken sentence.
Jeez.
But to dissect that and read this information on this level, again, this is an amazing body of material, even if I do say so myself.
Yeah. Sharon loves you.
Well, I appreciate that, Sharon. Thank you.
Do you have a question for him, Sharon? But let's see.
Oh, sorry.
All right, this is you know what, I do have a whole bunch of questions that are like written out that we really never look at, but I just was just kind of glancing down, and here's one that's really actually good. Did you, not that they're not all good, because they're all good. It's just that we like to have a conversation. But did you learn how to harness the energy necessary to accomplish something you were focusing on, as the spirit teachers suggested, and do you see the results each time you practice it?
I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the cone of energy, where they
Yes.
talked about visualizing a cone.
Yes.
How would I
Yeah.
how would I know that?
Well,
I knew you were going to say that. That just came into my mind as you said that, because I remember that passage, that page of the whole book. I remember that. And they
wow.
talk about a left-handed spiral motion
Right?
of concentrating energy and healing. And I, being brought up Pentecostal in the Pentecostal church, they teach laying on that they believe in laying on hands.
Yes.
My daughter is a nurse practitioner,
I do
and
chronic.
in nursing school they teach laying on hands of
Mhm.
patients, not in a religious or a spiritual manner, but just in projecting energy.
Right.
And I believe that we all have that ability.
Yep.
It's really
Yep.
just a matter of really not trying so hard. It's not like you're trying to force it. You just
Nope.
relax and let it come.
Yep. My
Just
hands actually heat up.
let it flow. Oh, and you can take your hands over somebody who has like an injured wrist, put without even touching their hands.
Hmm.
I have put my hand underneath their wrist and one above their wrist,
Hmm.
and they said they couldn't
Cool.
believe the heat.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I can do that if I scan over someone's body. They know exactly where my hand is. It's
Right?
tingling and the heat. And
And
then
and it's
and
again
as I
for
as
all
I scan around, like right now, because this is where I have an issue. I get stuck in a spot, that it doesn't let me continue to go. So I know I have an issue here, you know, and I
right.
do. Like I'm losing my voice. I don't know why I'm losing my voice, but I tried to pull it out and get rid of it, but there's really something going on there. But this is, I can do that with people, and as I'm going, if I can't continue, I'll ask, is there something, is there an old injury? Is there something that's going on in that part right now? And then try to adjust the energy accordingly. Now, Mama does Reiki, and she's a Reiki master, but but her manipulation of energy and my manipulation of energy is completely different.
And
It's different, but it's the same.
those are
Mhm.
all energies and abilities that are manifest in people based on their openness to be able to receive and manifest that energy and information.
Right.
Mhm.
This is what I tell people. If you can do this with energy, take your hands in front of you like this, right? Rub your hands and rub your hands and rub your hands, all right? So do this,
I
both of
don't
you.
need.
All right, you
I
do
don't
this.
need to
Rub your
rub
hands, you rub your
it.
hands, you rub your
I like
hands,
it.
and then you pull them up. Actually, you can go way out here, and if there's a uh, um, strain
Pulling.
on you being able to put your hands together, this is like your energy field, this energy ball that you've created.
She
Like
ball.
I can still feel it. Yeah, it's like a chi ball. Like way back here, I can still feel it. But if you learn how to take that and just really compress it down, and that's what they do with chi, and then they can push it, and they can actually make an air ball go. They can make a plant move. They can make water have a ripple by doing that, by compressing that energy, focusing in it, and putting it in a direction. But you can do that to yourself, and you can. This is how I do um, my protection. Is I take that energy and I bring it in. I scrape all the negative energy out, and then I put in, I infuse. If you take anything out, you can't leave a void space. You need to fill it. So you fill it with, protecting in white light, or golden light, or blue light, or whatever it is that you feel that you need to put in you to face the circumstances that you're going into, the battle that you're going to be facing, or you know, like for us going into haunted locations, so whatever I need to do is what I'll do to protect me. But you really feel it. And then you can do that to other people too. So you can take that energy, and scrape and push it. Oh, Sharon, yes, that's right. She said she was Pentecostal too, but they were very closed mind. She had to break away from it. It took her 30 years to meet me, and she helped. I helped her understand more spiritual. Thank you. But yeah,
They're not
she did.
Pentecostal are not quite as strict as they used to be.
Yeah,
Most of
It
them
was
are a
an
little,
odd bunch though. They were really kind of they
well,
were over the line.
it's strict church-based, Bible-based. When I was young, like I said, my uncle was a fiery Pentecostal preacher. They
Mhm.
believe in speaking in tongues. They
Mhm.
believe in laying on hands, which we also believe in. But at that time, back then, they believed that almost kind of like, Amish, where you don't wear makeup, more modest dress,
Mhm.
long hair,
Mhm.
and just pretty much down home, old time religion.
Mhm.
And it's just, there's just so many different, I just shake my head sometimes. I mean, so you've got one person, Jesus, and one book, the Bible. And you've got Baptists and Methodists and Lutherans and Pentecostal and Catholics and all these different tangents. And I just think God is looking down saying, this is not what I had in mind.
No, no. This is what man has in mind.
This
This
is
is what
not
I'm
what
Exactly.
I had
always
in
saying
mind.
about organized religion. It's a man. It's
But
what it's what like people will take the Quran, the Bible. All right, the Bible. I'm going to read the Bible, and this is what I think of it. So Catholics. All right, I agree with say 50% of what the Catholics say, but I agree with 40% of what the Pentecostal church will say. You know, so I'm going to take those two things, I'm going to combine them with that remaining 10% of what I believe in and make that a new religion because this is what I think of this. These words that I'm reading. And that's what they do with every religion. It's whoever's reading it and then can put it out there and then that's their religion and then they get followers because they get other people because once you do have a word and you do have that spark inside you, what is the first thing you want to do? You want to share it. So that's what they do. They share it with as many people as they can to believe them and then mold it, shape it, form it, and put a name on it. And there's your religion.
but religion and church, I believe it serves a good function.
Well,
It's
yeah.
it's social, it's a social reinforcement of
Yes.
positive moral values and
Yes.
belief systems.
Yep.
And so people have the opportunity once a week, if they go to church on Sunday or whether it's Wednesday evening, to get together with like-minded people, and they could share that information. But as we get older, we become more spiritual than religious, it seems to be.
Yeah.
And eventually we say, we know the story, we know what's being taught in church, but we get to a point where we just believe there has to be more. There just has to be more. This
And there
can't
is.
be it. This one shot, you know, and then all eternity, you go for it to a good place or a bad place forever and ever, and with no hope for reprieve ever. And if you got hooked up with the wrong crowd, if you were stupid, if you made bad choices, if you had bad parents, and your life spiraled downward, you got gangbangers shot in Chicago at the age of 15. And, you just really, do those people really never, ever have a chance to atone for what they did, or maybe live a life where they are dealt with in the way they dealt with others?
Right.
So,
Well,
again, then you're opening the door to reincarnation.
yeah. Well, I like Judaism. I like those types of things. I like the concepts of karma, dharma, reincarnation, Buddha. You know, a lot of those concepts I
Yes.
can really stand behind. But I definitely know. I know I'm an old soul. I know I've been around this world many times, and I think my soul is almost done. With this life because I think I've learned the lessons I need to learn, and maybe one more time around. But other than that,
Did you ever see the movie Defending Your Life?
I did not, because you know what? I watched the trailer for it and it looks so sad. You know,
Sad.
yeah,
Uh,
like a gut wrenching type of a
it's an older movie, Albert Brooks and Meryl Streep.
yes.
And it's old enough where you either go old school and go to the library and get it on DVD, or you can get it on Amazon Prime. It's not
Yeah,
on
Amazon.
Netflix, YouTube, or Hulu. But for all the people that are listening, including you, Sharon, look up the movie Defending Your Life.
Yeah, I did. I saw that. I watched
Defending
the
Your
trailer
Life.
for it. Yeah, and I was like,
And there's another
it's
good
too
movie
much.
called Always with Richard
Oh, I
Dreyfuss and
love
Holly
that.
Hunter.
Yes, I love that.
I
Oh
would
my
recommend
God.
that also.
Yeah. I just watched another one, The Awakening, which was really kind of neat. There was an older one too. I think I watched it on Tubi, but it's like you can find these movies on these free, streaming things too, without having to have Amazon Prime. Like Tubi has like a whole bunch of movies, really good ones too, for free.
Gina, could I share another one of my spiritual parchment prints?
No, of course you can.
You sort of, I love the face. It was like, oh,
At least I asked first.
cool.
Two of
That's
these,
hilarious.
a set of 3 writings that I offer on my website,
Yeah.
spiritspeaks.com. This is one that I wrote. I take credit for this. But I had, again, when I was doing the satellite dish company, I had the words strength, wisdom, courage, and confidence floated around in my mind for 2 weeks. And they would just come into my mind: strength, wisdom, courage, and confidence. And finally, I said out loud one evening, I said, okay, I'll write it. And I sat down with a tablet, and I don't know if I wrote this or if this what came. I didn't feel like this was dictated to my mind the way the greatness and spirit message was given to me. But this is what I wrote: God grant me strength, not only physical strength, so that I may make my way upon this planet, but also emotional strength, so that I may be strong in the face of all I must endure. Wisdom, not only the wisdom to make right choices, but also the spiritual wisdom to listen to that still small voice that speaks within, so that you, my Father, may guide my thoughts and direct my steps. Courage, not only to do what is right in the face of temptation, but to stand always in your favor in the face of discouragement. Confidence, not only in myself and my future, but also in my ability to touch your spirit as I walk your path in this existence.
Nice.
I was just writing this down so I don't forget it, because like I said, I forget why I walked into a room. But to me, that was like the Serenity Prayer on steroids.
I've had people say that, but
Yeah.
I didn't take it from that.
Right. No, it's
Right?
it's the Serenity Prayer is there for a reason, and it's a fantastic prayer. But what you just said takes it beyond, and beyond and beyond and beyond. So it's relatively the same message, but it's more.
Something else that I would like to share for people who read the book, An Angel Told Me So, you can't help but notice that these spirit guides, spirit teachers repeatedly refer to themselves in first person.
Yeah.
We feel, we believe, we advise, our view encompasses more than your view can comprehend.
Mm-hmm.
In volume 1, if you notice right next to the picture that you showed of Wilma, the last picture in the photo gallery, there was a line in that message that follows. It says, we hear the spirit cries above the words you speak. And they repeatedly refer to themselves in first person, even though many of the messages are signed in plural. And Wilma Jean was getting a message in March of 95. And this was a 2-page, full page, single space type message, no paragraphs, where both pages ended with the last word so tight in the bottom right-hand corner of the paper, all you could get was a period.
Wow.
And she had gotten a full page and was on the second page as these spirit teachers repeatedly referred to themselves in first person. And she stopped in the middle of the message and she said, I asked about the I and the we being the source of this information. And I will read you the answer that they gave. There was a delegate of spiritual beings set aside to deliver help to those who are driven by a strong desire to be guided without interference from outside influences and who believe God really does reveal himself when souls reach out by a sincere desire to deliver teachings as well as establish themselves in their beliefs that include direct entreatment of God's holy realm, where rebukes are sometimes expressed by those who conform to his image in some instances, but neglect to put to use the measure of faith God has given to each one so that they might exercise this innate ability. God uses other means to instruct so as not to deter their progress. Let your mind be assured that God has always allowed your use of his knowledge to keep your soul intact. And although trouble comes, he has rescued you in a manner that builds your faith rather than to discourage it. I is used when a serious point is being expressed to get your attention, for you must be arrested at times when doubt enters and interferes with delivery. I represents the Godhead of Christ and the Holy Spirit. Arrangements are made to counteract any influence that would try to distract you from your purpose, which is to serve in this manner. We congratulate you on your perseverance in insisting that an explanation be given to differentiate between these expressions. We are governed by the Godhead of which Christ is the ultimate source, whereby you can petition the Father for inner guidance that cannot come except by his command. We are those chosen to lead by means of his admonitions, so that you are resurrected and brought forward in a manner that will decipher that which God gives and by means of his Spirit will convey to you his never-ending will to see that all that is accomplished within your being is an expression of his love and devotion to those who are truly his own and will seek his wisdom and judgments through obtained instructions that can only be delivered by those whom he has chosen to do so. Therefore, we are givers of the word, chosen by his compassionate nature, so that you will not be led in darkness, but the light of his revelations will guide you against perils that seemingly are ever present, but cannot flourish in the darkness of their origin. By our very nature, we are God's creation. Concentrate your efforts now with full assurance in God's blessings that you are not led astray by the actions of your commitment to learn not only about God's goodness, but portray that which will bring you together with his Holy Spirit that speaks loud and clear to those who have an ear to hear. We do not conjure that which by its own admission is in retrospect a device used to control and overcome that which God has created for a plan. For we are to expel all that falls under our jurisdiction to deliver those from evil, those who by choice are enacting the will of the Father with a true understanding that he raises up a generation that will not falter in spite of affliction. I mean, that's pretty profound.
Yeah.
To say the least. Yeah.
And to have that dictated word for word, but the fact that they congratulated her on asking to her, you know, who are the I and the we? Who are you?
Right. But she wanted more too. She wanted more messages too. And it was like, you know, they just, if she asked a question, they give a direct answer, you know, when you're ready. And then, you know, this too, they're so direct. It's so
specific.
I've never read any, and I have. I got a lot of books, and I've read a lot of books of you know, people getting messages, and you know, an angel walks beside me, and all these other, you know, things. Never this specific.
Well, the title of the book is An Angel Told Me So.
Right.
But how do you know this to be true? An angel told me so.
Right.
And that was the title that Wilma Jean was given. but it's not really an angel book. It's not like, there's so many angel books out there, and it's not really an angel book. It really is
spirit messages
and teachings
teaching.
dictated directly from spirit teachers from the other side.
Right.
And they are teaching messages. And you can reread these over and over again as you have marked messages that you feel apply to you personally.
Yep.
And I've had so many people say they've done that.
Yep.
And there are messages, like I said, well, to me, because I'm involved, and there are messages to me. And if you, I'm sure when you read volume 1, you see some of the things that I've been told.
Yep.
And
pretty amazing.
And I don't let it go to my head. I'm just, I'm a messenger. I'm just a messenger.
Yeah.
And I am privileged and honored to be able to share this information, not only with your audience, but with all of the people who I will be able to share this with.
You would love to learn how to contact a loved one who's crossed over. There's several ways to do that. One's going to a psychic medium, one's
I think she means herself to do it.
Yeah. But
does she want to do it herself, or is she looking?
Yeah, I think she wants to do it herself.
Oh, I would love how to learn how to contact. Well, I mean, again, there are many ways. And then if you can find a good psychic, then there's psychic development classes, so you can further. Yep, she says herself. Yep. So, okay. Yeah, psychic development classes, there's a lot of them out there.
And it's difficult. Like I said, I've never really tried. I've never asked. People ask me, they say, well, you're really connected, and how do you know so much? And they say, who do you go to, or who do you go to for a reading? And I tell them, I said, well, not to be cocky, I said, but I don't really have any questions. I'm connected and I'm spoken to, and I feel like you said, I am on a path.
Yeah.
But there are people that want to reach out. They don't have that ability, and they go to spirit mediums, spirit readers, the mediums at Lilydale, New York, that we talked about.
Right.
Casadega down in Florida. And
they're everywhere. They're everywhere. There's good ones, and then there are ones that are bad. There are ones that will, if again, now, like what we were talking about before about these messages from our own spirit guides, if the little hairs on the back of your neck stand up when you go to meet this psychic, trust your gut. Trust your gut about feeling about what this psychic does. If they ask you too many questions, trust your gut. Run. All right. Don't pay them money. Like he said with the psychometry, like, here you go. All right, I'll give you this stone that's got a fox on it. That's my spirit guide fox. You hold that in your hand, you tell me what you think. You know what I mean? I wouldn't say all those things to you. I'd just hand you this and you'd ask me my first name. That's it. And then you get what you're going to get out of this.
Right. And it depends on what your spirit guides, spirit teachers want to share, and it may be for a number of reasons. It may be for something you need to know. It may be to build your faith. It may be to allow you to know that this is possible and that information is available from a higher source that can be received. And that's what these messages and teachings that Wilma Jean received allow people to know and feel that they are so pertinent to what they're dealing with in their life.
Right. And Debbie too. I just saw him, and one of the best psychic mediums I've ever seen in my life is a man called Gary McKinstry. We've had him on our show before. He just commented out of the blue on a site, and I just mentioned him the other day, and there he was on a site, and he said, oh, what a nice picture I put of me and Bob. And I was like, I was just thinking about you to have you come back on the show to do readings again. But Debbie, maybe you should contact Gary McKinstry, and it's MKINSTRY. He's in Douglas, Massachusetts. Phenomenal medium, like unbelievable medium. I'll give you an example. Okay. My husband passes away. I go to him to see him. Actually, it was for a friend of mine. She wanted to go, but I walked in the door and he said, I got to read you because you're coming in with an entourage. And I said, well, it's not my entourage. It's my husband's entourage. All right. Because, he couldn't be alone like ever. I'm content to be alone. He couldn't. He couldn't go to the store by himself. He can't. Nope. He was always around people. So my house in Massachusetts, I'm an artist. I faux paint and I do murals and I do all this kind of stuff, designing and decorating. We built an addition. It was beige. My husband said, please just keep this room beige. Do whatever you want in the rest of the house, but please keep this room just this, deer head over the mantle and beige. Simple. Yeah. And I was like, okay. Well, after he passed away, after a while went by, I faux painted the whole thing. I made that thing Tuscany. I mean, the ceilings and everything. And it's a 20 by 20 room, sunken room, vaulted ceilings. I faux painted it all. I took the deer head out. I put, Tuscan village scenes and stained glass windows of Tuscany, everything. Boof. So I go into the psychic. And he's like, well, first of all, I had two really bright lights, and he was kind of like doing this. I'm like, what's the matter? He's like, it's really bright. I have to adjust. And I was like, okay. I'm thinking, okay, here we go at first. But then he goes, there's a man, and he turns around. He's sitting in his seat because we're sitting opposite of him. He turns around and he looks and he goes, all right, so there's this man sitting here. He's a guy, bare feet, and he's separating his toes, and he's sitting there. And so he's just kind of like putting his feet out, and he's, he's doing the motions of how he would be sitting. And I'm like, yeah. We used to go camping on the beach in the sand, and he used to always put powder between his toes. He hated sand in his toes, but he liked to be barefoot. So he was, I could see exactly him doing this, because he could stretch his toes too apart. I always thought it was so freaky, but I'm going, yeah, that's probably Mark. I didn't say anything. He said, he's got something to tell you. And I'm like, what? And, I'm thinking, what can he tell me? He said he's upset about something, and I'm like, what? He said, your girl ate up my living room, he said. And I was just like, no way. No way. There's no way in hell that this guy would know that I faux painted the crap out of my living room, and everything. And so that was like, I was like, okay, all right, this guy's real, and then the messages after that were just unbelievable. And what was really funny is that he gives you a cassette tape of the session when you're done. And I was listening to it later, and there were EVPs on there. So there was the three of us in this room and no one else. And it's it's like a very secluded house. There's nothing but, well, he has some animals outside, but no, there was EVPs in there listening to it, which I couldn't believe. It was really crazy.
Those people that can connect like that, I'm amazed. Yeah. I've not been able to do it. I've never really tried, but I'm amazed that they have that ability, and it's a gift.
It certainly is. It certainly is. And some people fake it nicely, so that's what I'm saying. You'd be really afraid of those people when like I said, those little hairs and your spirit guides are telling you and your gut is turning. Listen to them.
I know a lady who's a medium, but she is an amazing artist. And not only can she connect with somebody who has crossed over, she can draw who she's talking to on the other side.
Yeah.
And her drawings look like photographs.
Wow.
Nice.
And she will do a reading. And at the end of the readings, someone will present a photo of the mother, father, uncle, cousin, brother, whoever it was who came through. Well, you can get a reading with or without the drawing. And she will do the drawing during the reading. And then at the end, they'll present the photo. And her drawing and that photo are almost identical.
That's amazing. That to me, see, that's what I'm saying. There's so many different gifts that people have, and it's all needed. All these different gifts are needed, and these people are out there. They're available for people to go, like Debbie, who wants to, contact her loved one that's crossed over. So, that's what, people are there to help you, whether it's, maybe even just for you to accept the fact that, they're crossing over. Because a lot of people don't, and you can't move on.
That's true.
They obsess over, trying to get in touch with and not move on. And that's not what they want. But it's like it is. There's so many things available and so many venues, and so many ways to get messages. Um, like not being like infused to you, like me and Mama, we do like um, card
Readings.
readings, yeah, like oracle cards. You know what I mean, and stuff. A million years ago, I used to do tarot. But I just
Mhm.
like got away from it. And lately I've been really like getting pulled towards rune stones. Like everything is getting, I don't know, more that area of
Opening.
things. Different, yeah, different types of divinations. But um, I've always been into that. I mean, it's been around for centuries. Throwing rocks around a rope that you put on the ground, and what lands inside, what lands outside, what grid it's in. I mean, it's centuries of different divination techniques. Candle
The
magic.
reason you're being drawn to so many different things is because you haven't found your one thing.
I've always been a jack of all trades, so you know
Yeah. But you know that there's one specific thing out there for you.
that. Yeah.
Gina, it looks
Oh,
like our time is running a little short here, so I
Oh, it
will
is.
share some information if I can. You've put up the website, spiritspeaks.com.
yeah, the links are in the chat room.
An Angel Told Me So. There will be 3 volumes. The second volume I hope to have out, and which is a continuation of these messages and teachings, only they become deeper as higher teachers move in. It's like they started spreading the word on the other side.
Hmm.
It's like
Yeah.
we found a willing receptacle. Look what we found. We found Wilma Jean Jones, and she's willing to sit down, her devotion and her loyalty to sit in these sessions and receive these messages. So higher teachers started moving in, and in volumes 2 and 3, the teachings become more general teachings. They're not necessarily addressed to Wilma Jean or myself, but they reference us into what we were going through at the time. But again, they still seem to be woven with that universal thread that applies to everyone who reads them.
Wow.
On the website, I have a contact page. If any of your readers or your listeners rather want to contact me, I would be happy to share some messages, a sneak peek from volume 2. And the book is available on my website on Balboa Press, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Kindle, Nook. And if they have any questions, I would be happy to take a quiz.
Well, that is fantastic. A lot of great information. Let me go back up here so you can see the book a little bit better. So that's that feather crown that Wilma Jean found in her pillow. This is it actually in a bag. I wish that was a clearer picture. Also, you can watch the interview that was on television with Wilma Jean, and this picture that is our background for our podcast today. You can click on this, and there are 5 messages, profound messages.
Actually, in that painting, the messages that people will find, and when you move your cursor around on the objects in the painting, when you find one, a little hand comes up, and you left click, and a writing comes up with corresponds with what you clicked on in the painting. The first quote is from the Bible. The next 3 are from the Urantia book.
Ah,
And the last message is the message on the back cover of the book that Wilma Jean felt was confirmation she should put these messages and teachings in a book. And she felt that especially the messages being given for her and for me, she went through a divorce, I went through a divorce, and she felt that a lot of them were a bit personal. And
mhm.
she wasn't really sure if she should share these. And I told her, I said, this is just too deep, too profound. I said, this has to be shared. There are too many people that are going to benefit from this information and these messages,
Yep.
not only from the teachings themselves, but the fact they'll realize that they too have access to their own teachers.
Yes. And that's the main thing. That is the whole main thing. You can do this.
That's
You know?
true.
Yeah. So this has just been, I can't see 2 hours just flew by. To me, it did. I don't know about you, but
Yep,
to me, it just was like,
it does go
He's like,
fast.
I know he's shaking his head. Go no, no. This is like
no, get me out of here now.
but seriously, I really enjoyed reading this. I would like to get the other two, and then I think you should put out another one. And I just have this. Have you ever gone to Israel or like to the Dead Sea?
I haven't, but Wilma made 3 trips
Wow,
in
because that's what kept
70,
coming to me when you.
79, 80, and 81. She had always wanted to go to the Holy Land, and she connected with a church group in Cincinnati that was doing a tour, and she went 3 years in a row. Got
Wow,
to ride a camel in Egypt, got to see the pyramids, got to go to all of the different sites. It was a 10-day, one of the whirlwind tours where you get up early, bus trip,
yeah,
everything's planned,
yeah,
and you don't have a whole lot of time to yourself because it's just to see everything in 10 days. But she
right.
went 3 years in a row and she just loved it. I have souvenirs that she brought back. I have Egyptian paintings on papyrus
Wow,
that she brought back that are framed, a
wow.
set of 3 of those,
So
candles.
next, yeah, our show next week we have Mike Ricksetter, who's just there now, leaving today. You know, he was in Cairo when I was talking to him today. He's on our show next week,
Wow.
and wow, what a whirlwind trip that he just went there. But with you, I was just like, I just kept saying, something
Right,
kept telling me to ask you about Israel or if you've been and something about the Dead Sea.
right.
So I had to ask you.
And I have
And
not, but
that's
but she has been, and she's been to all of those places, and that was just something that she always wanted to do, and that she was able to do it 3 years in a row.
that's pretty
That was,
amazing. That's good.
Nice.
yeah, that was really good. I'm glad that she got to make the trip.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think, you have all the souvenirs and stuff, but I don't know. There was something with you though, too. So I don't know.
Right,
I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy how this stuff works. But hang with us for a minute. You guys will see you all. Wait a minute, we've got 2 more things. Oh, look at it. Aw. This was a great show. Thank you. Mama, did
Cool.
you sneeze?
No.
Should bless you. Okay. Oh, okay.
somebody thought you did because you just
Thank you.
got blessed.
Yeah, you got are you just blessing her just so because she needs it? she,
That's,
she needs all
wait a
the
minute.
blessings. But seriously, thank you very much, Michael, for just sharing everything that between you
For
and
doing
your
what you
mom
do.
and doing and just putting this book out there for so many. And I know it's going to help so many people.
I really appreciate Gina. Thank you for having me on. And when I do get volume 2 published, I'd be happy to come on again and talk about volume 2.
Perfect.
Absolutely. Yeah, that would be great. Where's that? There it is. Okay. I'm like, where is my
I
exit?
didn't move it.
I found
I
it.
swear.
I found it.
Okay.
Stop looking. All right. But again, we'll see you all next week in the Fox Den every Thursday, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We love you. And hang with us for a minute, Mike.
I will.
Thank you again for joining us for another episode in the Fox Den. We're here every Thursday evening from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, bringing you a variety of guests, streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and our Anchor venues. We would love it if you would go to our YouTube channel, The Fox Den with Gina B and Mama D, and please subscribe, share, and definitely hit the notification button to never miss a show. We'll see you all next week, and subscribers, watch for our pop-up shows as well.